Good afternoon and welcome to Stand Up for Jehovah. Now, I've been reading a lot of stuff recently and I've got a feeling that it's becoming very easy to become a Jehovah's Witness. I'm not sure I could go back to that religion because it's not like it used to be back in the day. I remember the days when you used to go to 3 meetings a week and you used to have to prepare for 3 meetings a week. I remember the days when assemblies were over 3 days and you had to take a day off work and you had to ask because it showed trust in Jehovah. And if you got sacked, it didn't matter because there'd always be some other windows to clean on a different day. But now I'm hearing that the meetings are down and the assembly days are down. And here's my real beef. What's this with pioneering? What's the deal there? When back in the day when I was a pioneer, auxiliary pioneering was 70 hours a month and regular pioneering was 90 and special was 120. What is it now? Like, I don't know, 10 hours, 15 hours? Do you even have to get out of bed? Can you just Skype it? And that's the other thing. You don't have to knock on doors, dragging yourself round the street, being rejected at every door like we had to do back in the day, do you? You get to stand with a nice cushy stand and your magazines all slotted down the Satan rack and just kind of hang about on a bench nearby drinking a Costa coffee and nattering about Sister Short Skirt. I don't know if that's really the spirit of field service. Field service was meant to be hard. It was meant to be perpetual rejection. It was to prove your loyalty to Jehovah. Just sitting on a bench isn't proving much, is it? Field service was meant to be the equivalent of breaking rocks in a gulag to show Stalin that you were sorry for writing poetry or something like that. I may have got my history a little bit muddled, but you get the idea, don't you? It wasn't meant to be just sitting around hoping that somebody might wander up to you and say, "Oh, I've not seen this magazine before. I'd love to read it." We had to thrust ourselves upon people. We had to drag them away from pans of milk and crying children and phones ringing to tell them that this was urgent. And we had to face the face-to-face rejection on every door. Too easy. Here's another thing that's easy for you. Oh, you get to sit in the meetings now, don't you, with your iPod, pretending that you're taking notes when really you're on Grindr or Facebook. Do you know what we had to do back in the day? When we sat with our magazines, we had to do this. Can you see that? Can you see what we had to do? Have you ever had to do that? Have you ever had to do this? No, you haven't, have you? Because you can go on to XJW Recovery Group 3 and pretend that you're taking notes on the latest boring talk, or you can check out the brothers in the car park on Grindr who are also on the mobile phone checking you out. It is too easy. Plus, and I'm very upset about this, plus you get a songbook with a black man's cock on it. Don't you? We never got that. All we got was a green Bible with a little teeny weeny dinosaur in the back, and we weren't even allowed to believe in him. I think they were just teasing us with that picture. I am truly gutted about that. Here's the other thing that's got a lot easier. When I was a kid, we were properly traumatised from the Kingdom Hall platform. We were told about the brothers in Malawi and how they were being persecuted and how in the Great Tribulation we'd be persecuted just like that. And I was sat there aged 5 or 6 thinking about how bicycle spokes would be pushed through my legs and how my fingernails would be pulled out with pliers. And what else did they do? They used to whip them with cables and they used to electrify the genitalia. Well, I don't know if you're truly properly traumatised like we were. We had to live through Malawi. I'm not saying that's anywhere near as bad as the brothers in Malawi who actually had to live and die through it. But when you were going to primary school and the foremost thought in your mind was, could you be strong enough for Jehovah when they pulled your nails off with pliers? That is fairly traumatising. What's traumatising for you today then, hey? Ooh, you might not get a Wi-Fi signal when the great scarlet whore turns her wrath on false religion. Really? You might not be able to get Facebook on your iPad when you're in the Kingdom Hall and God's saving you. It's not difficult at all. I have got no respect for that religion anymore. None whatsoever. However, I will give you this. In one respect, there are a couple of things that are a little bit harder for you than for us back then. You have to remember a lot more new light, don't you? I mean, I'm not sure how you keep on top of it. Maybe you tap it all into your iPads while you sat in the meetings. But there wasn't really an awful lot of new light going on back in my day. Not that I can remember anyway. I could have missed it because I was busy filling in the O's and the D's and the P's. I don't know. But I do feel that you've had it coming thick and fast, and it must be quite difficult to keep on top of it all. And the other thing that I think is much harder for you is the shunning. Back in my day, you could fade. You were allowed to fade as long as you didn't say why you were leaving, as long as you just kind of nicely drifted away. Everyone was kind of happy about that, and they all knew the game. Don't ask and you won't get told, and we can still talk to each other. But now I think it's toughened up a bit, hasn't it? Fading is still almost as bad as, I don't know, having sex with a big black man in the congregation who's not your husband when you're 9 years old. Almost as bad as that. You might get disfellowship for that, then again you might not. But if you do something like say, oh, I'm not sure I believe this anymore, that's terrible. That's a terrible, terrible sin, and you will be shunned. And so I do appreciate that in that respect, it is a bit harder for you. But on balance, I think if we take it in the whole, it's got so much easier for you. All you've got to do is keep up with the new light and sing the songs, and you're doing fine, aren't you? So that's why I couldn't go back. I think that if I was going to go back to religion now, to make it proper good, I'd have to go back to, for instance, the Westboro Baptist Church, where they really, really have a hard time because everybody hates them. And we don't have one of those in England, not that I'm aware of. So I'd have to start my own up, wouldn't I? The Gloucester Baptist Shouty Church of mentalists. And obviously I am working my way up to being that person, but I'm going to struggle with inventing some of the beliefs, although I understand it's mostly based around hating people that don't look like you or think like you, so that's a good, easy start for me. But no, couldn't come back to the Jehovah's Witnesses, it's too easy. I'm really sorry, guys. You're going to just have to do it all on your own. Thank you for listening to another episode of Stand Up for Jehovah.